Oscar De La Hoya using scare tactics to try to justify Canelo's position in boxing and say that boxing needs Canelo back. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego in the back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Now, Oscar De La Hoya, he posted a couple of tweets that I wanted to talk about. And what does it say? We hope the actions by Milwaukee Bucks Brewers, justice for Jacob Blake. Yeah, I mean, definitely prayers go out to Jacob Blake. If you haven't heard, you should have if you live in America. But listen, I'm not interested in what De La Hoya has to say about stuff like that, issues like that, because he works for the company and founded a company that had N-word emails. You know what I mean? They call Al Heyman the Black Hitler, and those emails were never addressed. And now it says, everybody at Golden Boy stands with the family of Jacob Blake in condemning the police brutality. So it sounds good, but why didn't you condemn the person that was working with Ring TV and your PR dude about those Golden Boy emails? But anyway, let's talk to his points about the networks and numbers or whatever. De La Hoya on his verified page says, if anyone doubted how badly boxing needs Canelo, the sport's biggest star back in the ring, look no further than the terrible ratings from boxing on network TV the last few weeks. Right? It's a ucking embarrassment that sports-starved fans are flocking to baseball and the UFC and largely ignoring the greatest sport in the world. I have been working tirelessly day and night with our partners at DAZN to get Canelo fight done ASAP and get our sport back on track. So realistically, this is a PR move from De La Hoya to try to make it look like Canelo is, holding the sport up, and without Canelo fighting, the sport is in ruins, which is absolutely false. If you look, a simple Google search will show you this. All the interviews and articles and stuff about Canelo, none of them are really even favorable. DAZN won't approve Avni Yildirim as Canelo's opponent. Report, major update on Canelo's next fight. I don't even know what that is. They're just talking about him possibly fighting guys that he was supposed to fight in May, and then that got canceled with the pandemic. Then he was supposed to fight in September. They didn't sew it up by that time. DAZN offered him 50%. So this is just a pure desperation from Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya to try to scare fans. Listen, I've seen a lot of people, from old media, and they're trying to scare fans into thinking that boxing numbers are terrible and stuff like that. But let's analyze this. Top Rank had a summer series, and they had 7 weeks of fights that have all done horrible numbers, comparatively speaking. If you consider how many people have ESPN, it's in 90 million homes, 80, 90 million homes. And all of those numbers were about 300,000. De La Hoya waits until yesterday to come out with boxing's numbers have been terrible. So obviously he's targeting PBC, right? He says the numbers last week or the last few weeks, right? He says terrible ratings from boxing on network TV the last few weeks. So he's obviously trying to take a shot at PBC. But his error, there's a couple errors in what he's saying. And this is, I'll prove to you how he doesn't know what he's talking about. For starters, we have been in a rough year, 2020, with the pandemic. People's viewing patterns and the overall landscape of how we watch TV has ultimately changed. And I can prove that. Right? The NBA, top stories. Why are the NBA's ratings going down? 2 days ago. The NBA's TV ratings are going down. Why? Right? Sports Illustrated. Now they said NBA ratings up in prime time, but still down 30% overall. Right? So, everybody's ratings are down. The numbers that PBC has recently done, Sean Porter and his fight with Formelia or however you say it, and Thomas Delorme, his Thomas Delorme versus Jamal James, those both did over 1 million. They did 1 million and peaked a little bit higher, whatever, right? So everybody's numbers are pretty much down. That's one. NBA, you guys seen these articles, down 20 to 30% if you read through the material like I have, right? So what is De La Hoya talking about? He said the terrible numbers. So everybody's numbers have been down, because you have to understand, in this whole pandemic issue, some people don't have schedules. Some people don't even have jobs. Like, I was just evacuated from the residence last week because of the California fires. There's a lot going on. You know, you look in certain cities, there's like riots, and, you know, people are protesting for the right causes and stuff, like Jacob, right? So there's a lot going on. We're getting ready for an election. So that's one thing. You know, everybody's ratings are down. De La Hoya is using this to try to bring relevance to Canelo. And in actuality, Canelo is a terrific fighter, but I haven't really heard many people even talking about Canelo. That's just being 100% frank with you, because I think people are tired of the games. The other thing is Golden Boy and DAZN in general. You've seen DAZN reporters, DAZN commentators, you know, Golden Boy who works with DAZN, etc. And Eddie Hearn. They keep talking about PBC. Eddie Hearn said, oh, the Showtime schedule, David Benavidez and Angulo Romer and this and that, and look at their schedule. It's okay outside of the pay-per-views. And then De La Hoya saying the numbers are terrible. But to me, as a true boxing fan and an analyst and a reporter, that's pretty pathetic, because it reminds me of the kid who's looking out the window and he's flipping people off, like in the neighborhood, kids his age, right? Kids his age, he's flipping them off and yelling at them and cussing at them from the comfort of his home, you know, in the second story or whatever. And he's flipping them off, and they're like, come outside, come outside. And he's like, na boo boo, na boo. And you flipping them off and flipping the bird and all that. And you refuse to come out, you know, you refuse to come out. So would you have that same energy if you weren't protected within your house, you know, and you were out there with those neighborhood kids that are going to try to see you? That's in essence what DAZN is doing, you know, if you guys get the analogy, because they don't release any of their numbers, their viewership numbers, or any analytical statistics as a private company, right? They're not surveyed and ranked with the Nielsen media research like network TV. So none of their numbers ever even come out, you know, unless they put them out, which is far and very few in between. So it reminds me of the kid who's taunting the neighborhood bullies and whatever, but he refuses to come out. So I don't want to hear from anyone that works for DAZN, that works with DAZN, about anybody's numbers until you start showing some receipts and documentations for your numbers. You see, that's not fair. So Top Rank, they work for ESPN. Their numbers come out, good, bad, or indifferent. PBC, Fox, PBC, Showtime, their numbers are all coming out. However, we don't know what Canelo's doing, you know, and from the sounds of it, it don't sound like it's too hot, because why would DAZN, when the opponent switched from Billy Joe Saunders to Caleb Smith, why would DAZN offer Canelo 50% of what he's scheduled to receive? Basically a pay cut, a pay reduction, right? If he was drawing this much of an audience or driving these crazy subscriptions. So again, DAZN has absolutely, they're the last people that we need to hear from in boxing about numbers. You know, Bob Arum can talk about numbers, Al Heyman, PBC, Stephen Espino, they can all talk about numbers, because their information is public domain, public knowledge, and is put out there. DAZN has these private numbers that they don't release. They'll say, oh, Canelo did 600,000 concurrent. What does that even mean? I know what concurrent means, but 600K. How many? DAZN lets you use, if you have one DAZN subscription, you can play it back on 3 to 5 devices, right? 3 to 5 devices, right? How many devices can use DAZN? Okay, and I think they changed it. They said you could do it on 2. So anyway, so one person with one, I think it used to be 3. but whatever. You could do DAZN on more than one device. So that whole concurrent stuff doesn't really tell us what you're doing or how you're doing. In addition to that, and I think it was 3 to 5, but they probably cut it back because they were losing money. So that's even more proof. And I actually have a screenshot of it, so I'll have to find that. But DAZN, it used to be more, you could simultaneously play, but now they probably try to put a limiter on that, so not too many people were sharing accounts and all that. But anyway, the point I'm making is you can have it on more than one account. So we don't know how many, 600,000 could be really 300,000 or 400,000 when you divvy up individual accounts. DAZN also does slick moves where they'll say, oh, Canelo across 9 markets. But in 8 of the 9 markets, you can do a free DAZN trial for 30 days or whatever. So we want to know how many paid subscriptions you have, right? So the reality of what De La Hoya is saying is absolutely false. He's making it like ratings are down because of Canelo's not here. Canelo's Avenel, Yildirim, and most of the opponents are not fights that have been fancied by American audiences anyway. So he's not going to resurrect anything. Beyond that, if De La Hoya knew what he was talking about regarding viewership numbers, he would know this, that August historically has not been the biggest month for boxing. You have certain months like November has had some good fights, December, September, May, summertime, things like that. But you don't always get huge fights in August. A lot of them September. Like, Errol Spence, Sean Porter, I think that was September. I'm trying to think. It was August or September. But it's not all. Let's pull it up right now. Errol Spence. Yeah, September 28th. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If you look back at big fights and stuff, Floyd Mayweather, he fought in May, fought in September. He did fight Conor McGregor in August, but that was just a massive fight based on the spectacle of it all and the two personalities. And he did it because Canelo Triple G were fighting. They had a fight already for September. Otherwise, he probably would have selected September. You get what I'm saying? So August in general is a slower month for viewership and ratings for boxing. You'll look at big fights. Just think of big fights you can remember. Like, let's say Wilder Ortiz. They fought in March and fought in November of last year. Tyson Fury and Wilder fought in December and February. You see what I'm saying? Like, a lot of the big fights you can probably think of, like big blockbuster fights, probably didn't take place in August, except for, like I said, Mayweather and McGregor. And again, that was because Canelo and Triple G, one, had already been established for September. Otherwise, Floyd probably would have came back. And I think he did that to spite the Canelo-Golovkin fight and go a couple weeks ahead of him to, outsell them, which he did. But yeah, this is just poor from Golden Boy, and they're trying to scare people to make you feel like boxing is dying without Canelo. It's not the case, bro. I think a lot of people are fed up with the Canelo games, the back and forth and long negotiations, and you're now starting to see it bleed over into Ryan Garcia's career. They've been saying for over a month that the Luke Campbell Ryan Garcia fight is a done deal, yet and still there's no official announcement. I'll check their page right now. I'll check it right now. Look, no official announcement. Golden Boy, I don't see nothing about. Okay, what does it say? There's Ryan. Look, talking about Kobe Bryant. Look, Ryan's third knockout full fight. They putting Ryan's full fights up, but there's no official poster or announcement. So Canelo is not the answer to this. Again, the other really weak argument or talking point from Oscar is this. First of all, how is Canelo going to save us on an app? He's on an app, and you talking about network TV numbers. Network TV, Fox is in 114 homes. 114 million homes. Excuse me. You have ESPN in 90 million homes. DAZN doesn't release their numbers, but I know it ain't no 90 million that have that app, 100 million that have the app. We know that because then, listen, typically in boxing promotion, If your numbers are brag worthy, then you're going to brag about them, period. We ain't never heard Canelo's numbers and half these fight numbers ever come out from DAZN, as I mentioned earlier. So it's not doing no crazy astronomical numbers, which they don't have 90 to 100 million or even 50 million or 20 million people that have DAZN in America. So stop it, cut it out. How is Canelo going to save the day and he's trapped on an app? And not everyone has the app, especially with this pandemic, and you didn't have content for 4 to 6 months. For 4 to 6 months, you didn't have no content. So a lot of people said, I'm out and peaced out from the app. So even if Canelo announces a November fight against whoever, likely it's not going to be a big fight for Americans. It's going to be against a British opponent or Avenel Yildirim or whoever from Turkey. So that's not going to save boxing. For Canelo to save boxing, since they want to keep saying he's the face of boxing, he would have to fight somebody who has notoriety in America, like Charlos. Even an Andre fight would be better than a Yildirim fight or somebody who doesn't have a big brand, or Rocky Fielding and stuff like that. So De La Hoya is just using this as a tactic to try to bring the spotlight, or a positive spotlight, to Canelo, but really it's looking negative. It looks like Canelo wanted to cherry pick David Benavidez's old belt. His numbers are hidden. He's not really involved in discussions that we're hearing or rumors for anybody that we want to see, by and large. So it's not true. And again, Fox is doing over 1 million on all their shows. And the funny thing is this: people like De La Hoya, they have straw man arguments. And what they try to do is they try to look at Showtime, schedule the ops to them, PBC, Fox, and they pick the introduction and the introductory cards, and they're trying to use that as the catalyst to terrible numbers. But with about a month from now, both Charlos are fighting on pay-per-view. You see what I'm saying? And there's some different, and as the schedule rolls out, Showtime has a lot of really good fights. Fox has some good fights coming up. So yeah, you could pick and choose. Like Sean Porter just fought a guy I've never even heard of and did 1 million, literally. And he's saying this is terrible numbers. That Macklemore looking dude, I never heard of him. Sebastian Formella. But I was okay with it because Sean Porter has had a rugged and tough schedule, and this was just a pandemic comeback fight to put him back and see if he's the same off the Spence loss. And he is. So that's that. So that's what De La Hoya is trying to do. He's trying to judge. He's trying to take shots at PBC, which is what he always does. Like he tried to sue him and he lost and got dismissed. And he's trying to take like Edeslandi Lara, same thing. I don't even know Vendetti or whoever he's fighting. V for Vendetta. I don't even know who that is. I seen him with Michelle Sorrell, but he's not a big fighter like that. But that fight will still probably do 600, 700 to 1 million. You see what I'm saying? And this is what De La Hoya is trying to judge, in terms of numbers. And this is still better than anybody on DAZN. What DAZN fighter is doing 1 million plus each time out? If Canelo fought just look at, they said Canelo, look, watch, I'll show you. They said Canelo Jacobs, right? Oh, wow. That's cap. They said Canelo reports 1.2 million views. Get out of here, bro. They said 600,000. They said 600,000. Now, hold on. Look, there it is. Look, Canelo showed 1.2 million worldwide viewers. I just went over this. We don't care about what. Look, the bout, just listen how they worded it. Canelo Jacobs, the bout produced a peak U.S. audience of at least, what is this? A peak of at least 600,000. So on a subscription based service, how do you peak? How do you have a peak? Like, this is not like you just listen to what I'm saying. Usually you have peaks and averages on network TV because someone could be flipping the channel and randomly stroll on the boxing. And then you look at the peak, you're like, at this one given moment at 8:10, when the round 6 was awesome and someone got knocked down, this is how many people were watching it. And this is the peak. But how do you have a peak audience of at least 600,000 on an app? Because an app is a whole different, you can't accidentally get DAZN. You see what I'm saying? Like, I could just turn on the TV, flip the tube on, hit the channels and be looking for something to watch, Forensic Files or something, boom, boom, boom. And then randomly see Sean Porter on there, like, oh, okay, let me watch that. So then I would be tallied into the peak, you know, the peak number, the max number and stuff. But a DAZN, you have to make a deliberate, it's an app. You have to have a concerted and deliberate effort to subscribe, enter your credit card information, because there's no trial in 30-day free trial anymore in America. So listen how this is worded. This is cap. This is sketch. Canelo Jacobs, the bout produced a peak U.S. audience of at least 600,000 subscribers, according to two industry sources not authorized to discuss each detail publicly. So that could have been just a number they threw out because the people wouldn't go on record. And there's no way to corroborate this like Nielsen Media Research or anything. It says of at least 600. Oh, so we did at least 600. Either you did 600,000 or you didn't. But either way, Sean Porter is doing more homes and more exposure fighting as Macklemore, Sebastian Formella, because Sean Porter, Formella viewership. And they saying this is terrible. Look, Nielsen Media Research revealed Tuesday's Fox main event peaked at 1.2. So 1.2 million and it averaged 1 million. And that's free TV versus, you know, whatever DAZN cost. And DAZN, the whole shtick for DAZN was that they were so much more affordable than pay-per-view. So it's not like you're charging for Canelo to fight Jacobs in a unification. He's only doing 600, at least 600,000 on pay-per-view. I mean, non-pay-per-view. He's doing at least 600,000. That's it. And at the time, it might have been $9.99. Some people were under that $9.99 price, guys. Some people maybe $19.99. Some did $100, whatever. So, yeah, De La Hoya is way off. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. We working. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more sports. Get unlimited access to premium content with an ESPN Plus subscription. ESPN Plus offers a variety of content, including specials, behind the scenes, docuseries like Bruce Lee's Be Water, and much more. With an ESPN Plus subscription, you get access to a ton of classic archive fights and replays from boxing and the UFC. Big names like, hi, I'm Mike Tyson, come and watch my fight. Floyd Mayweather, easy work, I'm rich. And Manny Pacquiao, yes, it's up to my promoter, just to name a few. If that's not enough, you could get the ESPN bundle, which includes ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus. All three apps, one low price. You don't want to miss out. Make sure you guys click that link in the description box of all of my videos. Ego, signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.